Welcome to Aspire to Lead, where we empower educators and school leaders to grow, inspire, and thrive. I'm your host, Joshua Stamper, author, speaker, and leadership coach, bringing you conversations that spark transformation, challenge the status quo in education, and equip you to make a lasting impact on your campus or in your district. For more information and resources, visit joshstamper.com as we're looking to ascend to new leadership heights together. All right, Aspire leaders. It has been a long time coming, but I have my great friend, Jeff Gargas, the COO of Teach Better, back with me, co-founder of Teach Better. And we're so excited to join together for a special episode. One, Jeff, I don't know if you realize this, but the Aspire Lead podcast has hit 8 years. It has been around for that long.
It's been 8 years?
Yeah, 8 years in May. And so the reason I say that is for those who are tuning in next week, I've got a special guest to kind of celebrate that with our good friend, CJ Reynolds. So Me and him have an awesome conversation. Obviously, we just touch on the podcast a very short period of time. Mostly it's catching up with him and all the awesome stuff he's doing. But man, we've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. I looked at the calendar and technically May was when the 8-year mark hit. And I just want to bring that with you because you've been a part of that journey. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Congratulations, dude. That is, I recently started a new podcast we launched in January of this year. So we are... I think we're 20. I don't even know how many episodes we have out actually, because I'm thinking in terms of what we've recorded. We've recorded 27 episodes, whatever. But in the most recent couple that we've done, or a couple episodes ago, we talked about the fact that we looked it up while we were recording, is that 90% of podcasts fail within. It's actually 3 episodes. It used to be 7. You and I have had this conversation before. It used to be 7, so it's 3. So I kind of say somewhere between 3 and 7, they stop. If you make it past 20 episodes, you are in the top 1% of survival rate. Wow. So I don't even know what it looks like once you hit 50 or 100, whatever. I think I made the claim on our podcast. I'm pretty sure people who make it past 20 probably make it to 50.
What about over 300?
I don't know, but that would be really interesting to look at. I mean, it's got to be, very, very, very small fraction of those as it started. So that's not a small thing, dude. So congrats. And to do it for 8 years. So, because you can put out 300 episodes in 2 years if you really went hard, right? And it looks the same. It's different to stay consistent over the time period, too, of 8 years. Yeah. And we've been doing this. So first off, congratulations. That's awesome, dude. That is not something to brush aside anyway at all, both on the number of episodes and the level of episodes that you stay consistent with. And the fact that you've done it for 8 years now is awesome. I was thinking as you were talking about that, though, we've been doing this mailbag thing for obviously not as consistently. It's kind of
5.
We tossed them in there 5 years now. It was 20.
I think so. I think it was 2020
because it was the 2019 Teach Better conference that you came to, and that was in November of 19. That was
toward the end,
and it was February or something like that when you reached out and said, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" Because we got to know each other at the conference. So so wow, 5 years. We're over 5.
Yeah, and
that's
we're
crazy.
on episode 34.
We've done I was gonna say we've done a lot fewer episodes than you.
Yes,
but
not as consistent.
Okay, so we're averaging 6-ish, 7 per year, give or take. Yeah,
and some of the Aspire Mailbags are some of the top listened to episodes in the catalog. So
I
mean, when you have a special guest like Jeff Gargas, or co-host,
is this our first for 25 though? We have not done one this year, or did we do one early on?
I think we did one earlier. I feel like we did one earlier.
You're supposed to.
It might have been right at the beginning of the year. You're gonna have to look it up, but
I'm literally looking up right now. We're just gonna keep recording.
While you do that,
you take us through what we're doing here. I'm gonna look this up.
All right. For those who may be listening for the first time and have no idea what we're talking about, we like to reach out to you, the listener, to ask leadership questions via Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, and Boxer. And of course, in the past episodes, we've answered anywhere between 2 and 5 leadership questions. Just because of where we're at in the school year, we've got 2 questions that are specific to this time frame. So we're going to answer those. We're also going to talk about a special event coming up that Jeff's going to discuss in just a moment. Did you find when the last time we recorded?
February 15th. So we did do one, and then we had the prior. We did one that came out literally on December 31st, and then on February 15th. So we did. So this isn't as special as I thought it was.
Still special, buddy. All right. Before we jump into our questions, because we got 2 that I wanted to touch on today from listeners, we just share a little bit about what's being shared out on social media. I feel honored to be a part of this event coming up, but we've got a leadership summit that Teach Better's running. So we just share a little bit about not only the events, but why you're putting it on in the first place.
Yeah, so that is our virtual leadership summit, Real Strategies for School Leaders. It is taking place next week, June 10th, 11th, and 12th. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to run from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time, all 3 of those days. And it's just about 45-minute long sessions from a whole bunch of really talented educators and leaders. It kind of came from just us looking for another way, another opportunity to support school leaders. We built our business on supporting teachers, and I think we still do a pretty good job of that. But we realized a couple of years ago that where we didn't do as well as we weren't directly supporting leaders with our free content and resources and stuff like that. So we've been trying to do better at that. That's where our administrator mastermind, which meets every Tuesday morning, came from. And that's where things like this. We had a couple webinars recently with Jonathan Cranford of the Art of ISS, and then with Darren Pepper of Road to Awesome. That went really well. And we're like, all right, let's do more of this. We had some people ask for it. So we've gathered what we think is a pretty good group. It's tough to narrow it down to just that many people, though, because there's so many amazing people. So we may have to do more of these because there's so many. And we've had a few people reach out and they're like, hey, if you do one of these in the future, and I'm like, oh, like, yes, like it was a hard decision to figure it out. But we've got some great people leading it off. So first off, big shout out to Jeanette Mahalchik, who is with the Happy Music Teacher. Jeanette has been the architect behind the scenes with this, helping us do this. And it's just a partnership with us. Jeanette is a member of our Edu Creator Club Mastermind. She has been for a while now. Mm-hmm. And she's done some really cool summits specifically for elementary and music teachers and such. Right. And something that she's trying to do is also support leaders more. And so we kind of had this idea, and she has made my life so much easier to go through this process. So huge shout out to Jeanette for that. But we have some great speakers like Darren Pepper, like Chad Ostrowski, like yourself and Charlie presenting. Maurice F. Martin's coming.
Love Maurice.
Dr. Sarah Thomas from EduMatch is here.
Nice.
Dr. Sheldon Eakins. If you don't know Sheldon's like just dynamic. Andrea Bittner, P. Sloan Joseph, Curtis Hewson. Who did I miss? Oh, and Christy Thompson. And then Jeanette will also be speaking as well. I'm going to be there just kind of hanging out and being excited. Replays are included with registration. It's 100% free. You go to teachbetter.com/leadership2025. So leadership 2025. And you can get registered for free to get it. If you can drop in for one session, drop in for one session. If you can come for all of them, great. But at the end of the whole thing, we'll be cutting it up and putting them up as it'll be a course on our academy that'll be free to access, and you'll get that the access link for that and stuff too. So wonderful. Again, if you can come for one or all, whatever, come for replays if you have to. So
we'll make sure the link's in the show notes for everyone.
Yes.
Make it super easy for everyone. You can also head over to Teach Better or on their socials, but we're going to make sure that the link's easy and accessible to you so you can get that free. And then of course, if you've got a colleague or someone else that would benefit from seeing the content, make sure that you're sending it their way too. More the merrier. We'd love to have you.
I want to add that almost all of the speakers are bringing some sort of free resource to give away as well. So
for sure.
It might be all of them, but like we didn't require it. But I think pretty much everyone's got at least one thing that they're going to share. So a lot of cool resources for leaders as well. So
yeah,
Josh, I'm going to keep going with commercial. We're going to wrap it up, and the very last session on that Thursday is a Q&A with all the speakers. So
awesome.
You can ask anything to anyone. So as long as they're able to stick around. So which I think most of them are going to be there. So all right, let's stop with that and get into the actual point of this thing. I way too much Jeff so far.
That's all right. It's right. No, I think it's a very powerful event, and I really, truly believe in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't participate in it. So I want to make sure everyone is getting in there, signing up for free. So let's do something fun. Jeff, we've got Mark Horner, who's been a long time educator, leader, friend of ours. He's amazing out in Ohio. His question is, what are some methods that we can participate in to celebrate staff, especially at the end of the school year?
Yes, Mark, shout out to you, dude. We love Mark Horner. He's such
amazing.
A passionate educator. Yes, and he's been connected with the team for as long as I can remember. So I've got to spend some time in his school too, in his district, and around. Like they're awesome.
He hunted us down for the conference.
I was going to say quick side note to the conference as we referenced it. We were we had everyone out planning for this was for the 22 conference, was it? Yeah. And he hunted us down and showed up at the place we were at, because that's just how he is. I love it. In the wrong context, that might be creepy, but Mark, we don't think you're creepy. I think awesome.
It was not creepy. It was
funny.
To see you.
So the question is, how do we celebrate teachers? And it was specific to the end of the year.
Yeah, because we're in the fourth quarter. I know
my kids actually just yesterday was their last day here.
Yeah, somewhere in the end of June. I know New Mexico, New York, Canada, they go later.
Some of the East Coast schools do as well.
So if they're still in session, obviously this still applies, but I also think it applies if, kids are gone, but it's just staff right now. Because a lot of PDs happening. I've seen on social media, folks are, they got their keynotes or they got their district initiative things that they're still rolling through. And so requiring staff to be there for an additional week past when the students are gone.
Yeah. So I think for me, I think the biggest thing when it comes to celebrating your staff is to be real about it and have it come from the right place. And what I mean by that is you're talking about very intelligent human beings who can tell when you're just trying to check the box because you're supposed to celebrate them. And so I think one of the most important part, and this goes throughout the entire year through the summer, just in general culture, it's got to become part of just how you do things and who you are as a leader and the way in which you lead in the culture of your school, because otherwise they will see through it. And I've actually had conversations before with people who have shared just stupid things that they're like, this was such a stupid attempt of our administration to try and give us a little something. And I've had arguments. I'm like, that's thing that's kind of silly and feels just weak and whatever to you in the right environment is okay because it's kind of funny, but that's the problem, right? And so I think the key to all this is you have to have the right intention behind it, and it has to be sincere. And people are going to figure out, and you got to figure out how you do that. Some people that comes really easy to, and some people have to work at it, and that's okay. That's part of being a leader. You have to work on how do I approach this to make sure that this is sincere, and that my teachers know that I actually do care and I do want to celebrate them. And I think from there, sort of, the world is your oyster. Open up, it's whatever you want, right? So, but I think looking and getting specific and personalized as much as possible. Obviously, the size of your staff may not make that as possible, so that they know that you're paying attention to the good work that they do individually, that you are celebrating the right thing. It's not just, oh, kids got good grades and we got them through whatever, but the things that they did, where you stepped up, or the way you set boundaries and took care of yourself this year, or whatever it might be, focusing in as much as possible, personalize it, and celebrating them as professionals and the work they do. Because honestly, right now, society doesn't treat teachers very well. Not that it's ever really treated them all that well, at least not for a while. So sometimes the best thing in the world for teachers is just to know that you're paying attention and you see the work that they're doing and you appreciate it. Obviously, if you can give them a little something too, that's great. But budgets obviously impact that and stuff as well. But I think it all comes back to, it's got to come from the right place, and it's got to be a sincere place and not just checking a box.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first word that came to mind was consistency. If it's just something you're doing it right now at the end of the year and you haven't done it since August when they arrived, I mean,
if you only do it in August, in June, and then Teacher Appreciation Week, yeah, that's a great point. Yep,
that's going to fall the wayside, and you're going to get the inverse, which is going to be everyone's going to be upset, and then going into summer with that feeling of maybe hostility or anger or whatever negative feeling that might be associated with the idea of you don't truly appreciate me. You're just, like you said, checking a box, and maybe you had some extra money on at the end of the year on your budget, and you were just trying to look to spend something and make it look good for yourself as a leader versus, this is actually something that's truly from your heart. The second piece of that, when you were talking, I was thinking through know your audience, and it goes kind of along with what you're talking about, right? If you got a good rapport with your staff and, you might have a campus joke and a silly mug at the end of the year that's associated to that joke, well, everyone's going to get it. You've been consistent through the year. They already feel appreciated. So this is just one more additional item to that. That's going to go a long way versus the mug that just has the logo of the campus stamped on it at the end of the year and you put it in their box and it has nothing with it. I mean, that's two very different things.
To your point, I was thinking the thing that would fall flat in one instance but actually be funny in another is giving all of your teachers mugs that say world's greatest teacher. Right. In an environment where they don't feel appreciated, they're going to be really, so you just bought a bulk of them and didn't think we'd realize. But in one where they're I know I'm appreciated, and I love Josh, and he leads me, it becomes funny because they understand that the intent behind it was you goofing with all of them, which is a form of appreciation. And so I think that was, so I just want to touch, because the mug thing, I'm don't give me another mug with our school's thing on it. That's okay to include in something, because there's not, because hopefully your teachers have pride and they are proud of the school and they want to wear the colors and they want to wear that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not a sufficient gift it's a good part of a gift, if that makes sense. It's a good part of being a part of the team and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like, yeah, I think, consistency is huge, dude. Like that's like, it's so easy to see through that.
Well, and the last thing that came to mind was like going the extra mile. So for instance, like we would just do for all of our sixth graders, we would do home visits, and our parents loved it. The kids, we would give them swag. So they came into the school with like a shirt that said our middle school's name on it and logo and all that. So they had something, you know, when we did spirit days, they had something already that didn't require them to purchase anything. Well, we did that the same thing with our staff. We added them to the list. So we would go to their house and we would, you know, it didn't matter where they lived. And the staff felt appreciated because we went that extra step to go see them. And we weren't trying to be intrusive. We were just trying to say that, hey, we appreciate you. And we, as the leadership team, are excited that you're going to be back with us for the next year. And so, yeah, I might have to drive an extra 15 minutes to get to your house or 30 minutes. You are worth it, right? And that gesture means a lot. Even though if you look on it on paper, it doesn't seem like it's anything special or you're not really doing anything grand. It's not taking a large chunk of money out of the budget. But at the same time, that goes a long way. And I think that goes with like just making sure that you're going above and beyond than just a purchase order, you know, because if it's a handwritten note, I can think of several staff members where I wrote something to them and I saw that Christmas card or I saw that beginning of the letter somewhere on their wall or on their desk, well past the time that I wrote it. And did that take me a lot of time? No, but it was something above and beyond that they knew was heartfelt and something that I did specifically for them. And that went a long way. So I'm guessing that Mark's probably asking like for specific things that we can do to celebrate. But Mark, you got a great heart, man. And I know that you're going to be doing all of these things consistently. You're going to go above and beyond. You're going to know your staff probably better than most admin. But for those who are listening, I think those three things are key in regards to making sure that your staff feels appreciated. Yeah. Which also means that you're going to get retaining numbers for the next school year, which is extremely important.
Yes. Yeah. And I think your touch on the intentionality and like the effort of knowing that, oh, you took the time to write this thing or do this thing or come see me or whatever it is. Like there's a lot to that. And obviously depending on the size of your staff and the logistics of it, like you may not be able to go visit everyone.
No.
But maybe you could touch base with them in the summer in a very casual way that just lets them know that you're thinking about them, that you're pumped up for August because they're on your team. And sending that in a genuine way, not copy and paste and sending the same message to everybody, not sending a group text, but like reaching out and letting them know or, you know, that type of thing. And yeah, that's extra work for you, but that's, you know, if that's part of the gig, if you want to be and go above and beyond. I'd say all of this with also the little asterisk of make sure you're still having your own boundaries, taking care of yourself and not killing yourself to do this. But because you can do all this throughout the year in your work and hours as well. And to Josh's point, and I think it's sort of a theme of what we're saying here is like the consistency makes this all so much easier.
For sure.
And I think sometimes we get worried. They're like, well, if I do it all the time, then nothing feels special. And it's like, well, but if you do it all the time and do it the right way, nothing needs to feel special. Yeah. Because they just feel good.
Well, and you're going to feel good as a leader. I think that's the thing is like what you're talking about is building healthy habits, which is actually probably a perfect segue to our next question as I'm looking at it. But the second piece is like there is a mental health component to this, to both parties, both the leader and the teacher by doing these practices.
Yep.
You know, it'd be a great gift of appreciation, Mark, as you're listening to this, would be a shot of Magic Mind. So whether you're celebrating a staff win, wrapping up a long week, or just needing to recharge between each bell, Magic Mind is a perfect boost to clean your mind, focus your energy, and give you what you need because it's packed with matcha, nootropics, your daily vitamins, and this little wonderful green shot supports productivity, reduces your stress, and helps you stay sharp. I've switched this over, years ago.
Yeah.
And I've seen the benefits. I've seen my health improve. It's all natural, like I said. It's also without the caffeine crash of your traditional energy drink or your caffeinated drink. I know for myself as a leader, I was running myself ragged. I was not taking care of myself, and I wanted to make that change. I want to make that shift and create some healthy habits for myself. So if you want to give it as a gift to your staff to give them some more energy, focus, and a calm sense as the end of the school year happens, or for yourself to construct that into your daily routine, like myself, as I take it every morning, or I like to take it as I'm doing interviews, podcast interviews. head over to magicmind.com/ATLLT20 and use the code ATLLT20 in the checkout to make sure that you're getting up to 48% off your order. So make sure that you are jumping into the show notes, clicking on that tab. Otherwise, if you don't click the link in the show notes, you can always head over to joshstamper.com, and on my main page, I've got all of this information for you. So make sure that you're taking advantage of this for my Aspire listeners. And I know we're recognizing our staff this time of year, so make sure that you not only do a thank you note, maybe a goodie cards, but you're also maybe having some Magic Mind in their classroom, in their mailbox. Make it meaningful, make it a Magic Mind, and make sure that you are using this for yourself every single day to, again, sharpen your mind, lower your stress, and give you a calm energy you need to be the best leader you possibly can be.
Yeah, great point.
All right, with that, Jeff, let's move over to the next question here.
All right, segue in. Let's go.
Yeah, Greg Moffitt. Love him. He's out, I think, still in the Washington, D.C. area, just killing it. Looking at the new school year, what systems or strategies do you recommend to make your upcoming campus goals? So he's looking for behind the scenes as far as what are some things that you can put in place to make sure that you're accomplishing things that you want to do for the next school year.
I think, Josh, where my mind goes with this is that, like, I don't know for specific strategies or what would make sense right now.
No, I'm looking more at the systems.
Right? Don't know the goals. And I think a big piece is stepping back, taking the time to reflect and plan to make sure you do have goals and that you have clear goals and precise goals and realistic goals. And then I think a crucial part is the very clear, very specific, very intentional communication of those goals with everyone who's involved in them. Staff, support staff, if students need to be involved, if community members need to be involved, et cetera, et cetera. So being very clear and make sure everyone understands not only what the goals are, but why they are, how they align with all the work you've always done and have already done and build on things, and how they're going to be measured, what the expectations are inside of those, very clear communication on that. And then the consistency, I'm going back to consistency, the consistency throughout the year of not just reminding everyone, including yourself, of the goals, but sticking to those goals. That doesn't mean you can't adjust if things change, but the end goals, the strategies and the initiatives might change based on, things that happen in the industry, things that happen in the school, whatever. But the goal, the actual outcomes, which should lead to better student success, better culture environment, better success for your teachers, etc. Make sure that those stay consistent and that those are everything you do should tie back to those and align with those. And I think whatever that system might actually look for you, it's about that clarity and that intentionality is crucial, and the understanding that the communication of that as well.
For sure. Yeah, I went back to a keynote that I did several times last year in regards to building healthy habits, which also connected with like your personal goals, but then also your professional goals. Because you know how this works, Jeff. At the beginning of the school year, the district requires you, whatever electronic system that you have, to put in your teacher goal for the upcoming school year. And then also for administrators, we had to do the same thing. So, for my keynote, what I like to use was, something from Atomic Habits, which is like creating your goal with your own identity. They gave a lot of examples in that book, but the idea is like that you're looking at it as an individual. So like, for instance, Jeff, you're a runner. So instead of saying like, I'm going to run 10 miles every week, it's I'm going to run as a runner. Like I'm identifying myself as a runner. Like you're not actually setting a goal of a specific amount of time, because the goal is not to finish a run. The goal is to become a runner. And so when you have that mind shift of your identity is the goal, it changes everything. And some of the things too, like I know for you, Jeff, like if you miss a run, you're going to feel terrible. And then this
is really hurting right now because I'm not running. I have not been running well for a while now. So this is not kicking the guy.
Me calling you out.
Right this is you calling me out, whether you know it or not.
So this is actually an intervention for Jeff Gargas on his running practices. No, but the idea is that if you're working out, going to the gym, whatever it is, like just getting your shoes on, getting changed, getting in the car and going where you need to go.
Yeah. It's not the task, it's the overarching. Yeah, it's the
mindset of it. So if you can do that with your campus goal as a leader, and then also associate that with your staff as far as like whatever the goal is as a campus, regardless if you're a paraprofessional or you're a school leader, this is our identity. This is to our core. This is who we are. And when you start building it that way, I think it makes it one, not so grand as like an end product, but also it infuses like everything that we're doing. And we've talked about this too in different aspects, Jeff, but like whatever we're doing, if it's SEL, if it's, restorative practices, if it's mastery, in the classroom, whatever it might be, like whatever is infused, it's in everything that we do. Every decision we make, this is our identity. And then the other thing is like making sure that when you're taking those steps, those first steps, they're easy steps. So it's not about like, and I'm going to get on you again, Jeff, not walking 10,000 steps, but it's like actually putting on your running shoes. Which one's easier? So making sure that you're setting that up and making it, like you said earlier, that communication piece, making sure that you're communicating to your staff. This is their first step and it's not hard. We're going to make this as easy as possible for you, because already our teachers are feeling stressed. Our educators, our leaders are feeling stressed. They don't want one more thing, right? So if it's to our identity and not something extra, it's what we do with everything that we do in our core. And then everything that we're doing next is super easy. I think as far as that mindset goes, it's going to be super successful moving forward because it's ingrained versus this is just one more thing that we got to do.
Yeah. And this is, Josh, you're speaking like I mean, this is our approach when we work with school districts is one of the common questions. It seems simple, but it's actually super powerful that, we'll sit down is asking like, what are the 3, 5, 10, whatever things that we want to see in every classroom in our school or district. And that becomes the identity. Like what, and you can go beyond that, not just in classrooms, but just in general. What are the things that we want to see and want to do? And then everything you do, from the curriculum you use or don't use, from the software or tech that you use or don't use, to the training you bring in, or the initiatives or the pushes or whatever, and the goals that you set, all of those things align to working towards those things. And it's a continuous process versus a one and done. So to your point, it's the continuous process. I'm going to use the example you gave with me. It's the continuous process of becoming a runner, not running a 5K. And so from a school standpoint, like your work is literally never going to be done, right? So it's a continuous process of always being better at this, better at this, better at this, better at this. Now, depending on what those things are and where you're at, our goal this year might be a really small one. We just want to increase it this much, but it's because we're constantly going. And that's where, when you can do that, you get away from this thing where it's like every year there's a new initiative and then it's done. We're done after a year, because then you have people who don't put into it. Because if you find the clarity and the alignment to what you're trying to build toward and be like, hey, we're never done. It's our vision, right? We're trying to get there. It's leading us. Now we're always working on it. And we're going to look back this year and go, hey, did we move towards it? Awesome. We didn't quite hit that goal, but we did move towards our vision, which is what we're trying to do, because this isn't a 1 year done. Like, we're going to continue working to be better. So I think it all comes back to that, dude.
For sure.
I don't know if that answers his question, gives him the actual strategies, but hopefully it gives them something to build on there.
I think so, is in regards to the system. And I think, and Greg is a smart guy too. And a lot of folks that are listening, they've done this, where they've seen, and I've done this, especially when I was a young leader, is like what you said, initiatives live and die in a 1 year span. Like especially if you're moving on to the next thing the following year, and our staff, especially our veteran teachers, they've seen that firsthand. So if it's just one more thing that's going to, be here for a couple months and then go away, they're not going to put the effort into it. They've seen this play out before. They know what happens. And so it's the new shiny thing, and it'll go away. And next year will be the next shiny thing. So we just need to make sure that as a leader, we're not allowing that to occur. And it's truly our identity as a campus. So I love it, man. Teachbetter.com. Make sure that you're heading over there. If you have a problem, I know Jeff, Chad, and the wonderful Teach Better team is going to be able to provide for you. Also, you can head over to joshtamper.com. I'm going to make sure that the Teach Better stuff for the Leadership Summit is there, so it's super easy for you in regards to the link. If you're looking for any information in regards to what we're going to be speaking at the Leadership Summit, you can head over to joshtamper.com/language of behavior. There's more information in regards to the new book with me and Charlie, but then also some additional things that we've got going on, including, since we're talking podcasts, we got another podcast too. So I think we're 27 episodes in for that one.
Nice.
So
top 1%, baby.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. So it's been a lot of fun to work with Charlie, and obviously to do additional work beyond just the book. She is. I am very lucky to be working with her. So I think that's everything, Jeff, unless there's anything else that you can think of.
Nah, teachbetter.com/leadership 2025 to come hang out with us next week at the summit. And that's it.
Can't wait. With that, everyone, if you need any assistance, if you need anything from Jeff or myself, please reach out. We'd love to support you in any way possible. Appreciate you being a part of this journey for the last 8 years. For those who are listening, this could not occur without you. And so if you have any leadership questions that you want Jeff or I in the future, because Jeff's not going anywhere, I've got him locked in for a lifetime contract. So if you have any questions for the two of us, make sure that you send it this way, and we'll make sure that we answer that in the next Aspire Mailbag. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you, brother.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.